and this will probably be the last. I mean, I think we're good.
Okay.
This is all great.
I'll speed through it. I'll get it through.
No, it's all right. And we have to come back to when you said the lady said to you, "You are special." Don't forget that.
No, I won't. It's important.
Okay.
So
She shook her hand out.
she extended her hand. She told me she was a recovering drug addict. And I already had so many, I call them wow moments.
Wow moments?
Wow moments. Whatever, wow moments, just great spiritual moments. And I've had so many. And I was like, wow. And she said, give me your information. I'll contact the lawyer out there. I'll contact the judge. I'll set it all up. She said, you just have to fly out there, appear, and we'll get this taken care of. Cool. Fly out there. I'm sitting in the hallway at the courtroom. The lawyer comes up and introduces himself. And he said, well, let me go in the back and let him know that you're here. Then he comes back out with this funny looking face. And he said, man, you're not going to believe this. He said, the judge that Gabby set this deal up with, he's not here today. This other judge don't know who you are. So, of course, fear takes over.
Yeah.
And I told him, I said, give me about 5-10 minutes. I go across the street and I'm walking back and forth. And me and God have a funny relationship. I cuss God out. I get across the street, I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? I said, really? I said, this is some bullshit, right? Why did you drag me all the way out here for this? Walking back and forth. And then it dawned on me. I said, you're right. I did that. I did the crime. I said, God, I'm not built the same way I used to be built. I said, but if it is your will for me to go to prison, I said, maybe I'm supposed to help somebody in there with a little bit of law I do know. Maybe there's somebody in there that needs to be helped. I said, if you want me to go to prison, fuck it, let's go. Called somebody back in Houston and said, well, if you don't hear from me in a couple hours, I'm probably going to be in prison. Just give my shit away. I said, come on, God, let's go. Fuck it. Got in there.
Well, I got to stop right. I got to say one thing real quick. And this is the ultimate trust in God. Because you're about to either things are going to go great or your life is going to go hell.
Right. This was the moment. This was another moment.
Yeah, you're trusting whichever way is right is what God's will.
So I went from that person that walked into that drug treatment center, an agnostic, to where I'm at now, jumping off fucking bridges and not looking where I land.
Yeah.
That's how my relationship with God had grown.
Yeah.
I don't need to jump. I don't need to look at the ground to see where I'm jumping from.
Yep.
Nor will fear keep me from doing anything.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
If I know that's what I'm supposed to do, and I know God is setting me up. I know that He set me up. He tricked me, fucked with me, and got me out there. Because if I would have known that was going to happen while I was still here in Houston, I probably would not have gotten on that plane. He had to trick me to get my ass there, to put me at that moment to say, make a decision. And by this time, I had already seen all the things He had done for me. I mean, the scale was like this. So now, all of a sudden, what? You've been sober 7-8 years and this and that. Now you think that you want to start doing the fucking thinking again? No, I can't do it, God. You have a pretty good track record with me. I'm going to roll with you. So got back in there, total lawyer, I was ready to go. Got back in there, the judge looked up, and then the judge said, well, Mr. Brooks. And when he said Mr. Brooks, I'm from the streets. He said, Mr. Brooks. And I was like, oh, it's going to be all right. I was like, I got a shot. And he said, we couldn't have done a better job with you than you did with yourself. He said, you're in law school. I said, yeah. He said, looks like you're doing well. I said, I think so. I'm working hard, Judge. And he said, well, this is what we're going to do. We're going to reinstate your parole. and then we're going to dismiss it. And then we're going to wipe your record clean.
Holy cow. Holy cow.
Just like that.
Wow.
Just like that. So I don't have any felony. That's how I can carry a gun. That's how I can do just about anything I want to do.
Good Lord, man. Wow.
Right? Got back, went through law school, got married. The whole thing. There's just been a tremendous amount of blessings. Got back and, of course, worked, raised the kids. I got divorced, but it still didn't change anything about how I was going to raise my kids, because remember I said I wasn't going to be like my father.
Yeah.
I didn't. I've never put my hands on my kids my entire life. Never.
Always provided. You've always
provided, always been there for them. Emotionally, I've been there for them. I've showed them how to cry, how to be happy. It was okay to cry. Emotions are a beautiful thing.
Yeah.
Let them know that your feelings will get hurt in life, but it's okay. They're like, why is it okay? Because you're a human. Humans have emotions.
Yeah.
So, but along that way, I also started understanding how there's messages that we get in life every day. Every day. But the only way that you can see them is if you have to live outside your head. You have to be open. You have to have your eyes open. Because if you got a bunch of shit going on in your head, the messages will just go by.
Yes.
So I learned how to slow my whole life down and get messages. And every day we get messages, and it guides us. And this is why it's important to turn this thing off. You get a message, don't try to figure that message out. Don't say, well, why am I doing that? But that don't make sense. Why wouldn't I? Do it. And then sit back, and maybe a year, 2, 3 years later, then you're going to sit back and say, oh, now I get it.
Talk about the woman who said, because you just said maybe years later,
right?
You're special.
So I got diagnosed. So I was, I had Hep C. I knew I had Hep C. I knew what it could eventually lead to, and it eventually led to me having cancer, liver cancer. Went in there, got all the tests done, everything done, and I was on the transplant list. I got called one time, and it was raining that night. The liver got there, but the surgeons couldn't get in, so that liver went to waste.
Oh, wow. Man.
So if you could imagine, you're waiting 2 years, 2.5 years. You get the call, you're super excited.
Oh, my God, yeah.
So you're there, and you have to go through so much to get prepped for surgery. The arterial line, which is painful as hell, CT scans, X-ray. I mean, it's like an 8 or 9 hour process. Get in there, and they say, it's too late now. This liver has been sitting too long. It's not good. So they send me home. So I go from this way up here to the next thing I know, I'm sitting at the edge of my bed thinking, what just happened? I get called again 6 weeks later, 5 weeks later, whatever it is. Go through the whole prepping process all over. Except this time, I can see the operating door. It's 50 feet away. I just got marked up because a surgeon comes over and they take a marker and they mark you where they're gonna cut you at.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm like, this is gonna go down. Pushed me to the room. Nurse coordinator comes around the corner. She said, stop, stop, stop. We don't like the way that liver looks. So I had the CT scan that night and everything, right? The next day she calls me and she says, Gene, she said, you're not gonna believe this. I said, what? She said, you're not a good candidate anymore. You're off the liver transplant list. I said, what?
Why?
So, and in this book I talk about there were criterias and all that, and it's called the Milan criteria. So basically, you could have cancer, but you can't have too much cancer.
Okay.
You can only have so many lesions, and those lesions in total can't be of above a certain number. And they said, based upon the CT scan that we got, you're over that number.
So to dumb this down for people like me, is it the chances of you surviving anyway long term? Why give you a liver then give it to someone else who has a better chance?
Right.
Okay.
Right. Because chances of, if you have that much cancer, then chances it has metastasized or it has moved to other parts of your body. So they don't want to give an organ to somebody like that.
And you find out both these things in one conversation.
Right. And I said, I can't say her name, but and I remember I got off the phone because it was one nurse. She called me and told me. I get off the phone, I'm like, God, are you fucking joking me? Are you really fucking with me? So I called this other nurse the nurse I called was straightforward. She gonna shoot from the hip. She gonna tell you. She ain't gonna fuck around. So I called her and I said, is this really gonna happen like this? She said, no, Gene. She said, I'm not gonna let it. And she told me the same thing that nurse told me. She said, you're special. She says, I'm gonna get you a liver. She said, my husband runs the imaging department. We're gonna do 2 rounds of chemo. We're gonna get you rescanned. And I'm gonna have him read it. She said, you don't worry about it. She said, you let me deal with him. And she's fine as hell. I was like, I know that's right, Jones. So, did the 2 rounds, got called again, got back on the list, got called again. They said, we have a liver for you. She said, but the liver is coming out of a prison. And I was like,
meant to be. Wow.
I said, I'm happy. I want to take that liver. And she said, why are you laughing? I said, because Jones, I was like, I shouldn't have no Christian liver. I don't want one of them livers. I said, I need a liver like that from somebody who has been through things in life. I need a liver that it was only appropriate that somebody like me, fuck up like me, is being saved by another fuck up like me. The beauty of it, I look at him like, oh my God. And what's also so great about it is that, of course, it gave me life. But it gave that other person who probably for most of his life had a whole lot of shame, guilt, remorse, made his family sad because he kept getting locked up. It cleaned his shit. He said, well, I fucked up my whole life, but I'm going to get this shit right this time. It gave him peace.
Yeah.
It gave me peace. How does it get better than that?
Yeah.
See, in my own mind, which I know a lot of people are going to disagree with what I'm about to say. I think life is perfect. Everything that happens is perfect. That man dying, well, is it sad or good? Well, it all depends on how you look at it. It's good for him. It's all, it kind of cleansed him a lot of stuff. It's good for me. The other family, the family that he comes from, it might be sad for them. But it's all perfect. Like we look at COVID. And from COVID came the technology mRNA, in which they used to help treat COVID, because it's kind of like the car that drives the vaccine.
Yeah. But now you said they're doing mRNA
they're using mRNA on some forms of cancer, and some forms of other diseases. Like, this opens up a whole nother arena. which we all know that, with genes and genetics, that is the way.
Yeah.
It's genetics.
Yeah.
My mom had cancer. My dad. We don't die of heart attacks. We don't die of strokes. We don't die of anything. Brookses and Rapleys, we die of cancer. My mom just recently died a month ago from cancer. That's what we die of. But anyway, I got the liver, and I had the operation, and 17 hours later, I was up and walking around. I was in the hospital 3 days. Wow. I was back home one day before I was back in the grocery store, my little buggy.
Wow.
But again, it goes back to, you are not going to outwork me. It's just a mindset. Oh yeah, I can lay up and be, no. Give me my little buggy. I didn't walk long. I didn't walk far in the grocery store.
Yeah.
Maybe 20, 30 yards, and then I had to turn the buggy around and sit down. But I was moving.
Yeah.
I was moving.
Yeah.
I was on my way back. 6 months later, after the transplant, I got diagnosed again with cholangiocarcinoma, which is bowel duct cancer. And they gave me 6 months to live. And at that time, I was raising my 3 boys because my ex-wife, who's also a lawyer, she was in Beaumont. She was the general counsel for Beaumont Independent School District.
Okay.
She did school law, which, like the bullying policies now for HISD 4Ben, she wrote.
Wow.
Brilliant woman. But she was in Beaumont. I had all 3 of my boys, and I just got diagnosed with cancer again, and they gave me 6 months to live.
What are you thinking right there? Well, let's talk about
As soon as it happened, I was like, as soon as it happened, I just sit there like, oh God. And I thought about my kids. Like, what the fuck am I gonna do? Then I started thinking about my whole journey with God. And I'm like, they're gonna have to fucking kill me. Come on, cancer, fuck you. I was down for about an hour. Fuck it, kill me. Got a new girlfriend, raised my boys, and I was just continuing to live. There were some days I had to really that I was feeling a little bit worse, but I just, I just worked through it. There were some days I can remember driving to work and would shit all over myself. Call my buddy, I'll be late. I told him what happened. He said, man, just take the day off. I was like, fuck you, Mike, I'm not. Go back home, take a shower, change, go back to work. I can remember one day coming home, and I had chemo that day, and I was like, okay guys, just give me a second, let me get myself together. And I can remember my middle son saying, oh, I'll cook tonight. I said, come on, Jacob. He says, I've been watching you cook for 5, 6 years. And he started cooking, and I went in the bathroom, and I sat on the toilet, and I started crying. Because I knew they already knew how to clean the house, do their clothes and stuff like that.
How old is your son about?
He was about 15. Yeah, about 15. And I went in there, and I sat down on the toilet, and I started crying. And it was at that moment that I realized, still gets me today. It was at that moment that I realized that I did all right. Like, as a man.
Yeah.
It's like, I fucking made it. Like, okay, if I die, that's cool. I did what not shouldn't say just a man, but as a parent, what you strive for, and that is to get them to live in this world. And I knew that if I died in 6 months, maybe they weren't all done with their education, but I knew that they could take care of themselves. That's all I ever wanted in life. That's all I ever wanted. It was the greatest, it was the greatest accomplishment for me in my life. I mean, not the degrees, not all the music I had done, because at that point, I had already produced, 14, 15 albums. I had a residual income, everything. But that was the greatest moment in my life. Knowing that, knowing that they would be okay. I'm like, shit, I made it. Not all the other external stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
When Max saw that, that's when I knew you made it. You made it. You fucking did it. Pat yourself on the back, young man. You made it. And, but I kept living. Like I said, I had a new girlfriend. I get them all situated, get them to sleep, and then I would leave the house. I still had my little bad boy tendencies now. I wasn't. But my point is that I was still living. I hadn't given up. I wasn't depressed. I wasn't sad. Like I said, there were some days when I had to stand in that shower. I remember that one day when I came back from shitting on myself. I was standing in the shower, and I said, because I was starting to feel a little bad. I was like, God, I can't even hold it no more. I can't do this. And I was standing in the shower, and I said, no, Cancer. You can have my body, but you are not going to break my spirit. Nothing can break me. And again, that goes back to that same philosophy. You are not going to break me.
Or outwork you. Yeah.
You're not going to, you're not. I have a fucking determination and a mindset that I won't be broken. And so it's also interesting, when I got diagnosed with cholangio, we knew cholangio was there after the transplant. See, if they would have discovered I had cholangio in addition to that other cancer, I wouldn't have got a liver.
Yeah.
Because cholangio, all the data does suggest that it's about a 6-month lifespan. So they're not going to give me a liver knowing I only have 6 months to live.
Right.
But they didn't detect it. Again, God looking out for me.
Yeah.
It wasn't until after, it's called an explant, where after you transplant, they take your old liver and they slice it up and examine it. And that's when they examined that I had hepatocellular carcinoma and cholangiocarcinoma.
Wow.
So God was looking out for me. But anyway, went to MD Anderson, chemo, radiation. I didn't miss a day of work when I was going through chemo and radiation.
Wow.
Not a day.
Wow.
I'd get sick there and everything else, but I'm going to keep working until I drop dead. I have 3 boys I got to take care of. Nothing is going to stop me from taking care of them. And I just worked through it. Did the radiation, and I got cancer free. And now I've been cancer free for about 8 years. I'm over that threshold, that 5 year, that 5 year threshold. Like if you can just wait till get to that 5 year threshold, then the chances of it coming back or reoccurring is just real small.
Yeah.
Even though I am sure at some point in my life, cancer will come back. I get that. I'm not gonna escape not dying from cancer.
Really?
Oh, I already know. And I don't expect to live a long life.
Well, you've already lived like 5 lifetimes.
Right.
All the stuff you've done.
Yeah. So, and I don't want to live a long life. I don't want to. I don't want that. I don't want to be an old man and walking with a, you see him. I mean, it's beautiful if that's what you want to do, but that's not. I don't want to do that. If I could get to, what did I say? I'm 50. If I can get to 65, 68, I'm good. Another 8, 9 years of life, I'm good.
Wow.
That's it. I'll be ready to go. I have 2 sons. I have 3 sons. All of them are in college. The youngest one has about 3 years left to school because he just graduated last year.
Okay.
And I know there's no such thing as a perfect child, but that little boy is close. You know, I mean, he's close. I haven't checked his report card in probably 6-7 years. Don't need to.
Yeah.
So, and you know, and that's, and you know, I've done a whole bunch of videos, and they're on YouTube about spirituality, male sexual abuse. Before I got cancer.
What is your YouTube channel? I'm going to put it right here.
The YouTube channel is half black, half white. But if you can't remember that, you can just Google Eugene Brooks spirituality, Eugene Brooks abuse, and they'll come up. But I had a chance to do some really cool stuff before I got cancer with this book, The Half Black, Half White.
Yeah.
You know, promoting that and doing public speaking. I really had a chance to do, you know, a lot of good stuff with that. And I was really moving forward, you know, with the book. And then that's why I got diagnosed. And that's just God saying, not yet. Like when I went with law school, it's like, it's just not yet.
Yeah, yeah.
There's still some other lessons you need to learn. And then went through cancer. And then that's when I wrote this book, F Cancer. So with this book, one of the scariest things about having cancer and transplant is you just don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah, the unknown.
And you get a whole bunch of information. And even though I'm a pretty smart guy, I couldn't digest it all. And then I would go home and search on the internet, you know, for information. And I couldn't find what I was looking for. So that's why I decided, well, you know, I'm gonna write a book. And I write the book in a very honest, no lawyer talk, no big words. And matter of fact, I wrote the book and I didn't even edit the book.
Really?
Nope. So there's going to be some English issues. There's going to be commas not in the right places. But I didn't want it to be like that book. I wanted it to be one freaking cancer patient to another.
Excellent. So I'm going to ask you to close this out by giving me, normally I'd say give me a piece of advice, but you actually have at least 2, probably 3. First, do me a favor to the cancer, someone out there today just got diagnosed.
Mm-hmm. First thing, don't be afraid. Second thing I would tell you is this. You know, when you go on Facebook, you'll see these, I don't even know what to call them, but it's the same script that people just copy and paste. And it's about chemotherapy. It will be with you for a long time. You'll never get over it. All of that is bullshit. Chemo doesn't last that long in your body. You won't have any long-lasting effects of it. None of it.
You haven't experienced any of that.
Okay. And what's crazy is like some of the people I see reposting it, I add in a comment, how many times have you had cancer? How many rounds of chemo you been through? Oh, none. This is just what I hear. And I would write in there, take this down immediately. If you have no firsthand experience, why would you post something like that? It's already scary enough when you're diagnosed with cancer. Then you're going to add another layer of fear about the medication that they have to have. Why do that? If you don't know, shut the fuck up and say, good luck. Is there anything I can do for you? Just shut the fuck up. I mean, especially, I don't even understand, and this would kill me, it's like you have all these people that say they believe, Christians. Where is your faith? You go to church every Sunday, you give a goddamn preacher your money, but then you live a life full of fear. That makes no sense to me.
No, because they're not really listening to the word. That's the main thing. They go there. I'm telling you, right now, I'm a Christian and I live a whole different. You see it too often. You see it too often, and then you see it with people who are not just Christians. It's other obviously. It's all these other religions. They go to wherever they're going to preach to learn, but they're not really listening.
You're not listening, or you may be listening and you can quote the Bible, verse, chapter, but you're missing a part. That's the application part.
Yeah. Yeah.
Are you applying it to your life?
Exactly. Are you doing it?
Right.
Advice for kids today who are half black. Let's just do that because that's where you're coming from. Half black, half white.
My advice to them would be understand where you live at. Understand what people see. You know, chances are they're going to see somebody that's black. And what you have to learn is you have to learn how to defend yourself being a black person. But that's not how you have to live. Just like me, I describe myself as a caring and loving human being. That's why I am.
There you go.
But I understand when I walk out that door, I have to put on my shield. I have to backpack with my defenses in them because I know how people are going to treat me. Do I look to be treated that way? No. Do I love everybody and treat everybody the same? Yes. Am I kind to everybody? Yes. Do I joke, laugh, open doors for everybody? Yes. But don't cross me. Because then the other side, which will always be there, that I learned from a little kid running around the streets, it is there. It's just subdued. But at a blink of an eye, it comes out.
But controlled, because you're not going to go back to the old days.
No, but it's controlled.
Yeah.
But you're going to get a mouthful.
Yeah.
And you probably will get shamed. Not probably. You will get shamed.
One more piece of advice for the
Yeah.
kid. I'm saying kid, could be older. Getting in trouble. They're getting in trouble. Maybe they just got out of jail, because just coming out of jail, you're dealing with all sorts of stuff, trying to get your life back in order, and you have a lot of guilt and blame and everything else.
Right. This is what I could tell you, a piece of advice for if you're a cancer patient, if you're half black, you're half white, if you are trying to leave, trying to get out of your addictive personality, if you're trying, this is for anybody and everybody.
Go ahead.
Right? And I talk about, there's an acronym that I use, and it's called TIME. Slow down. Take a deep breath. You didn't get yourself in this spot overnight. You're not going to get out of it overnight. Give it time. And what time is TIME. Things I must earn.
I like that.
Give yourself just some time. Just take a deep breath, relax. And the only other thing I could think about is, just like I have these glasses, you might need a new pair of glasses. You might want to change how you see things in your life. Like for me, let's say I leave here and I get in a car accident. The first thing that's going to pop in my mind is, oh, that's terrible. No. Okay, shit. All right, God. Okay, bug it. It's meant to be. I don't get upset. My first thing is always, everything happens for a reason. Relax. Let's see how this plays out. There's probably a blessing in it. Instead of emotionally reacting, just take a deep breath and just sit back and say, okay, what do I do?
Yeah.
Yeah. And if you screwed up, the last thing. So even in this book, I talk about them, those, and theys.
Okay.
Right? Because we love to blame them, those, and theys. See, them folks over there, see, if they wouldn't have, and those other ones over there,
Yeah.
if they would have just done what I told, it's not them, those, and theys. You're the problem. Everywhere you go at is them, those, and theys. No, it's not.
Yeah.
You're the problem. You have to fix you. So that would be my advice is
Excellent.
always look at yourself first. And initially you won't be able to do it alone. Because like I can see you, Rob, real clear.
Right.
Right?
Right.
But what stands between me and me is a whole lot of rationalization and justification.
That's true.
I can rationalize anything out to clean up my side of the street.
Right.
But I can look at you clear.
Yeah.
I can tell you the truth about yourself.
That's true.
And it takes practice learning how to look at yourself clearly. So in the beginning, find somebody you trust.
Excellent, excellent advice.
And believe them. Just believe them. But you gotta have somebody you trust in your life, and you go to them and say, this is what I did I screw up? And if that person says yes, say thanks. I have to really look at that, and I have to change that part of myself.
That's right.
Don't rationalize it. Don't justify. Well, I wouldn't have done it, see, and this, that. Okay, whatever. Fuck it. Don't even tell me anymore because you're not ready.
Yeah.
But you need to have somebody in your life that will tell you the truth. Regardless, and that person has to be fierce. Like, well, I'm going to tell you, and I know you're going to get pissed off at me, and you may not like me no more. But I made an obligation to you to tell you the truth. Your shit is raggedy as hell, and you need to get your shit together.
There you go. That's right. Absolutely.
I mean, and we all need to hear that at some point in our life.
Yes.
I have a friend I know I can call. When I was going through cancer, when I was going through radiation, I remember I was having a little rough morning, and I got into the elevator, and there was a 6 or 7 year old kid there with his mom, and you could tell he was on chemo, and he had her hand, and he said, I'm tired. It was about 7 o'clock in the morning. He said, I'm tired. Mom said, I know, just about an hour or so, then we'll be able to go home. I got out of that elevator, kind of teary-eyed, and I called my buddy Mike. I said, Mike, you still got that bat? He said, yeah. I said, okay, I'm coming over there. I need for you to hit me in my head as hard as you can. Because if you ever hear me about being ungrateful, if that little boy could do it, what the fuck is wrong with me? That means I became ungrateful. I said, so I'm coming over there and just whoop my ass. Because I just looked at him, I was like, come on, Gene. He will never, I mean, chances are he won't live the life, live a full life, experience,
That's good.
fucking, you know what I mean? Like all of life.
Yeah. Or he may miss part of his youth because of that.
Yeah. He ain't out playing baseball,
Yeah. Yeah.
playing football, running around in the grass.
Right.
Even though we know it's part of God's plan, but it's like, and I remember that morning kind of changed me too on a journey. And so God will keep putting things in your life. But again, if my eyes weren't open, I would have never caught that message.
Yep.
Or I would have never caught that message. He keeps us going.
Yeah. Yeah. Always learning.
Always. God bless you. I mean, just keep at it.
Eugene, this was a fantastic interview. Thank you very much. His information's on the bottom. Check the information underneath the video. I'm going to put all links to his books and everything else. And thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem, man.
Do great freaking things.